Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Installment of Scott Selections here for Friday, April 15th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We had a nice winner in the NHL with the Canucks minus 1.5 goals at minus 110 on BetMGM. Really doesn't get much easier than that. They won the game 7-1. Arizona got killed again. They pretty much packed it up for the rest of the season. And Vancouver responded like a desperate team that needs some points in order to potentially, claw its way back into the playoff picture. And it did. So nice winner for us. We'll put another winner here on Friday. And for the play today, we're going to go to one of the two main games that people want to talk about, which is the NBA. It's going to be the final play-in game in the Eastern Conference and a matchup between the Hawks and the Cavaliers, taking place at around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for the play today, we're going to take the road team in this one. Despite how dangerous that might sound, we're going to take the Hawks minus 1.5 at minus 105 on DraftKings. Time recording of 3:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Couple reasons why I like the Hawks in this spot. First of all, minus 1.5 and minus 105 is a great price. Shopping around is mostly available at 2 or even 2.5 at around minus 110. So you're saving 5 cents a juice and you're also getting a free point or a free half point. Sure, I'm going to take that every time. And you want to look at the actual, performances by these teams recently, heading in opposite directions. Atlanta, we know, was struggling for the majority of the season, kind of picked it up late to even get into the play-in games. And Atlanta has won 3 of its last 4 games by at least 15 points. It's really been crushing opponents recently, including the massive 29-point blowout win against Charlotte in the first play-in game. Meanwhile, Cleveland has been struggling as the Cavaliers have lost 4 of their last 5 games by at least 4 points. They really have not been that great. Now, I know that there will be a return of a key player, which I'll mention in a second, which might potentially swing some things, but I'll talk about that in a second. To go through the actual regular season meetings, Atlanta fared quite well. The Hawks won 3 of the 4 regular season meetings by at least 3 points. The only exception was the first meeting this season, where the Hawks lost on the road, second game of the season, and it happened so long ago that Colin Sexton was still playing for Cleveland before the injury. So that kind of tells you how this series has gone for the last couple of months. It's kind of been one-way traffic in favor of Atlanta. Now, to talk about the injury for Cleveland and the potential return, of course, I'm talking about Jarrett Allen, who was the center, who really was the, defensive anchor of this team. And, of course, he suffered that fractured finger back in March, and that's kind of when Cleveland ended up hitting a wall. Now, Allen is, according to reports, going to attempt to play, which means I expect him to suit up, but I'm not sure how long he's actually going to be on the court for, because apparently that finger is still giving him problems. He's had pain in it, but of course, in a win-or-go-home game, he's going to tough it out and suit up. The problem is, I'm not sure how much of an impact he's actually going to have because of some potential minute restrictions, as well as just the fact that with some issues with his finger, I'm not sure how, solid he's going to be finishing around the rim. Now, Allen has not played since March 6th. So in addition to the finger issues, I do have some conditioning questions where I'm not sure if he's immediately going to play 38 minutes in his first game in a month. He might end up playing 28, something like that, so he might still have an impact, but I do believe that Cleveland's going to need him to play a bunch in this game, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to do so, especially if the finger acts up on him again, and they might have to potentially pull him mid-game. But Jarrett Allen, I know he's a great defensive player. I know he's a good rebounder. I know that he's a solid lob finisher. But with the hand issue and the month off leading up to this game, I'm not sure how sharp he's going to be and how many minutes he's actually going to play. So I do think his return is a little bit overrated from that perspective. Now, the main, issue with taking Atlanta here, even though I'm going to counter it in a second, is the fact that, of course, the home teams have fared extremely well. In the play-in games, they went 4-0 straight up into the first round of the play-in games. Last year as well, they did very well. However, I do simply just think Atlanta's the much better team. And Cleveland was a team that peaked earlier this season. I get they're healthy now, or healthier now. But Atlanta has the best player on the court in Trae Young, who's really dominated Cleveland all season long. Capella's had a bit of a resurgence lately. Bogdanovich has been very solid. Herter's been very good in the playoffs. And Atlanta, of course, has the experience because they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and Cleveland still has an extremely young roster. You're looking at the main pieces. Of course, you have Garland and you have Mobley. They've both never been to an actual playoff series before. You have Allen, who had a cup of coffee in the playoffs with the Nets. Then on top of that, you have playoff Kevin Love off the bench. A little bit of LeVert thrown in there, who, of course, had a playoff series or two with the Nets with Jarrett Allen. They just don't have much experience. And I understand they're at home. I understand that Allen, of course, is a factor, but I do believe that Atlanta will be more comfortable in this, I'd say, intense environment. And I expect Cleveland to potentially come out flat. We've seen them struggle in the first quarters recently. And I think Atlanta will do enough in order to just outscore Cleveland and win this game by at least 4 points. It should be close. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I do believe that Atlanta is the better team. And you're going to give me a -1.5 with the better team. I'm going to take it. Plus, we even saw this last year with the home teams. They were all doing really well. And then the Grizzlies ended up beating the Warriors on the road in the final play-in game. It has happened before where the road team has managed to steal one, and I do believe that we're going to see that once again here on Friday. Plus, it's pretty telling that Atlanta, despite being on the road where they've really struggled this season, is favored in this game. I find that pretty telling, and it makes me believe that Cleveland might be a bit of a trap play. I'm going to go with Atlanta. I think they'll win the game. So the play today, once again, here for Friday, April 15th, is going to be on the Hawks, -1.5 at -105 on DraftKings. Bye, everyone.